Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, what would happen if your mobile phone killed you?
We are tonight's entertainment.
I would rather watch Beautician and the Beast.
People don't forget.
And here we go.
Made for movies.
Hey, what's up out there, everybody? Welcome back to the Made for Movies podcast. I am your host with the most, Aaron Wolf, and with me as always, Eric Russo. What's up, my friend?
Not too much. Really excited for this week's episode. I don't know about you.
It's always a wonderful time of month when we have an episode like today's. So what do we have in store for all of our fans?
So today we are going to be having our second induction into the Made for Movies Hall of Fame. Last month we did The Matrix as our first movie, and we'll be doing one of these per month and alternating between a movie, an actor, and a director. So this month is going to be an actor, and we have chosen none other than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, I love it. I love everything about it. Very excited to talk all things Leo. Austin Powers got it right with the joke of all time, with them scooping up Leo in their evil talent agency. He was the right target. He is amazing.
He is amazing. Yeah, so a lot went into this decision. There is many people who we plan to induct over the next couple years into the Made for Movies Hall of Fame. And this kind of came down to some personal preference from me and you, and just also feeling that he is, you know, personally the greatest actor of our generation. So
yes,
it wasn't too hard to make the decision, but there definitely were other deserving first-timers that we considered. Moving forward, we definitely will have the opportunity for people to vote on who they want to see inducted next, and you know that'll heavily weigh into our decision making. But that's for another time.
Oh yeah. Let's
jump into this. So
diving
Leo,
head first.
Yeah, what does Leo mean to you, Wolf?
You know, I say the word my favorite actor, or the words my favorite actor, a lot on this show. Ken Watanabe, some other people. It's mostly Ken Watanabe. But Leo is actually it for me. He's my favorite actor.
Wow.
A lot of competition out there, but this won't be the last time I say these words. But I love him in everything he does, and even stuff that I've looked back on that I hadn't seen as him being younger. They're still good. And then looking forward to what he does in his older years, I'm greatly excited for, with his, you know, what's coming up type stuff. So he means a lot to me as far as being a movie fan, and there's not much of his that I don't like. So yeah, he's everything. Well deserved to be entered into our Hall of Fame, I believe.
For sure. Yeah, very similar for me. He's definitely my favorite actor. Someone that I look forward to pretty much every movie he comes out now. I'm pretty excited to see what he's going to do. And again, even the movies that I personally don't enjoy, it's always easy to watch his performance and take something away from it. In fact, some of his best performances, in my opinion, come in movies that I personally do not like, which makes it frustrating because I do want to watch certain performances, but they are long movies. So yeah, but that's what a great actor is. He brings it from so many different perspectives. One thing that always stands out to me is just how many different accents he's done over the years. Like,
yes,
I thought he was from Boston, you know, from The Departed, but he's definitely not. Yeah, he's just a game changer, man. He elevates every single thing he has done. I personally did not like him when I was a kid, like when he was in Titanic, just because I was afraid he was going to steal every woman ever.
It's so funny you say that, because I hated him during the Titanic time, because that was all you heard about. Leo, 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 Leo. Like, is he really that special? Yeah, okay, it's an okay movie, but when you get older, you really start to appreciate the art of being someone like Leo DiCaprio, because you kind of know a little bit more about them as you grow up. So I agree with you on that one 100%.
Anything in his performances that stands out to you specifically that you like?
Just like, I think one thing that Leo brings to every performance is, the word that comes to mind first is intensity, because it's you can feel almost every emotion that he's going through, whether it's his facial expressions or whether he's being funny or whether he's being as serious as it gets in some of these. No matter if the movie's bad, like you said, the intensity is there from his performance, and that makes you kind of just want to watch that movie either way. So that would probably be the number one thing for me.
Sure. Yeah, no, I completely agree. One of his specialties, I would say, is playing roles that are very subtle, like that a lot of people, I'm not going to say it's easy, but when you're a great actor, you're playing someone that's famous that everyone knows. It's a little bit easier to pull off that performance because they have something to compare it to. It's a lot harder to play a role, in my opinion, like Howard Hughes, someone that not many people are familiar with how he actually acts. And I think that's what he's great at, is just the little subtle things that he can do for like an everyday person throughout his roles that almost make it so that you almost forget that you're watching Leonardo DiCaprio, which is pretty crazy when you think about who he is. And I think that's really his best thing, is he's a chameleon, but not in the sense of a Christian Bale who transforms his body.
Right.
He just becomes the character without getting into method acting, which is very impressive that he's not a method actor to be able to kind of really get into these roles the way that he does.
And bringing up the body of Christian Bale, I think one of the other things I really like about Leo is the fact that he is not like getting ripped for a role. Like, he may work out, like in The Departed, he's clearly like a little bit bigger than anything in the past, but like you look back at a movie like The Beach, and he's like a scrawny weirdo. Like, he just, it's not like the guy you think would be taking everyone's girl. Obviously, he's a good looking guy, but like, he's not trying to get as jacked as Superman and then as skinny as the Machinist. Like, he would do, he does other things, and it makes him more endearing, like more like he's an everyday kind of guy versus this guy who literally gets any supermodel he wants, lives the life of luxury, and just like has that great personal life we all strive for. So
yeah,
I like him a lot for that too.
That's fair. Yeah, and he obviously is very involved with trying to save the planet, which is also cool. It's also a reason, recently he's only done a few movies in the latter years, last, I think 3 or 4 movies in the last 7 or 8 years. So he's definitely starting to use some of his influences and his money to do something he has a lot of passion for, which I very much respect. I'm hopeful that he continues to use this platform moving forward to bring us more great roles, but I could see him retiring a little earlier than we want him to fully focus on those other things, especially with how bad things are getting in certain aspects related to what he's into, like global warming. But let's just dive into it. So we're going to go through his whole entire career. We'll have some fun facts along the way, some roles that he almost did, some roles that were almost taken from him, and we'll go through. We're going to highlight his top 10 roles. We're not going to rank them because we're going to go in order, but at the end we will give our picks for our favorites, our least favorites, and so on. But let's just get this started. So Leo's first couple movies were in 1993. He was 19 years old. Did some commercials, did a movie called Critters 3 before that. I always confuse it with Gremlins 3, which is pretty much the same thing.
I'm also confusing it with Tremors 3, I think.
Yeah, well, that's just a good movie. But yeah, so he came out in 93 with This Boy's Life, which I enjoy. It's a nice little small movie. And then he also got his first Oscar nom for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Funny thing about this is he actually, I don't know, Wolf, have you ever seen the movie Hocus Pocus?
I have seen Hocus Pocus a long time ago.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Hocus Pocus when I was a kid.
Big Bette Midler guy.
There you go. They're actually making a sequel to Hocus Pocus.
I've heard. Oh, wow. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker. Woof.
Yikes.
All right. Anyway, moving on. He actually turned down the role of Max in Hocus Pocus to play, to star in the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Johnny Depp. So in Gilbert Grape, he plays a mentally disabled kid, probably about the age 15, 16 years old in the movie. But just a fantastic performance. At the time of this, I think he was like the 9th youngest person to get an Oscar nom and a Golden Globe nomination for his role. it definitely seems to me anyway that he's supposed to be younger in the movie than he is. He doesn't look 19 in it.
Yeah, he looks like 12 in that movie. It's amazing. He must have hit puberty pretty late. If I honestly thought until you just said he was 19 in 1993 that he was a 12-year-old boy in that movie. Like that, he well-deserved nomination for that.
Which
Absolutely.
is funny too, because like he was in This Boy's Life, which maybe these movies were filmed a little bit before they came out. It's possible, but he looks super young in that too.
It would even be like he's 17 playing that still.
Yeah.
Like even if it was a couple years before, it's pretty funny that he started at 19 with those roles looking like a literal child.
So the reason I bring up Hocus Pocus is it seems that, you know, if you had to guess, I'm assuming that Hocus Pocus probably a bigger movie than Gilbert Grape at the time as far as like box office. Leo has made so many decisions throughout his career that we'll go through that really were just, I can't imagine making that decision if I were him, but almost every single decision led to his biggest and most shining moments in his career. So like if he doesn't take that role, he doesn't get that first Oscar nom, who's to say, you know, where his career goes from there. You know, if he's just like a Disney star, you know, he could end up being like a teen actor and then kind of faded away. So huge decision to do that, which leads to a few other roles. So we'll move into 1995, where he had 3 movies come out. So this is this is also another thing we see throughout his career is he tends to do like multiple movies in the same year, which we don't really see that often.
Yeah, it's usually one every year or one every couple years for some of the bigger guys. Like we were just talking about Denzel when we reviewed The Little Things, and like he's like a one a year now type of guy, or sometimes he's got gaps that are bigger than that. So to see 3 movies from someone with the staying power of someone like Leo per year, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And 95 is also where we get Leo starting to play in roles based off of actual people. So Basketball Diaries is based off a writer, so that's going to be his first foray into this. Have you seen this movie, Wolf?
I've seen Basketball Diaries. I meant to rewatch it before this, but it was actually unavailable on every outlet. Like you literally have to go find a Blockbuster that has it. So I guess I'm going to Oregon.
Leo got a blowjay from the guy in the bathroom for $10.
It possibly could happen. You never know.
Yeah, so this movie, I'm not really a fan of it. He's fine in it. There's a couple great scenes in it that stick out to me, like the one where he's sitting on his mom's porch, outside her house is a great scene. But overall, it's not a movie that I really like. I'm like, oh, yeah, like you got to go see this Leonardo DiCaprio performance. It's top tier.
Right.
He also, in 95, or possibly, the year before, he did audition and was offered the role of Dick Grayson in Batman Forever. Wow. What would you say if I told you that Leonardo DiCaprio was Robin?
Batman Forever ranks among my top Batman movies of all time because great cast. Can't beat Tommy Lee Jones. Can't beat Jim Carrey. Val Kilmer as Batman is the worst part of it. I'll accept that. But then Chris O'Donnell, hot off of the presses from Scent of a Woman, I'm sure. I really wish Leo would have taken this. It would have been literally probably the best Batman movie of all time if it was Leo as Robin.
Come on.
Can't really can't really hope for too much on that. But I love these little facts because you think these movies would change so much depending upon who plays it. And I feel like obviously Chris O'Donnell is like most people listening would say who? Like
who?
He doesn't really exist anymore other than, LL Cool J on my Hawaii 5-0 or whatever stupid show he's on. But
he's probably a billionaire from that show too.
Right. So yeah, that would have been super cool in my opinion, but that's in the past.
I'll disagree. I'll say that this saved his career. We are not watching Leonardo DiCaprio on Hawaii 5-0 because he rightfully so turned this role down. He said that he just didn't feel he was quite ready to be in a franchise. The reason that I think this is such a instrumental not doing the role move for him is because he's not going to be in Titanic. If he takes this role, he's Robin for the next movie, which came out the same year as Titanic, 1997. He doesn't get that role. It goes, ironically, to Christian Bale. We'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, so this was, as far as not taking a role, very good move by him. Batman Forever is an entertaining movie, but it is not one of the best Batman movies. I will stab you.
I love that the difference in opinion on that one. It's always going to be funny for the rest of our lives.
It will be great. It will be. So then 96, we move into your favorite Leo movie, Romeo and Juliet. Is this...
One text message saying that Romeo and Juliet isn't that bad. It then turns into my favorite movie.
I almost canceled the podcast when I read that text. I was like, this guy, he was high when he said that.
It's just a little bit of a modern day Romeo and Juliet. What's so wrong with that?
It's not modern day. It would have been fine if it was modern day, but they use all of the lingo from back then.
That was the point.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir? I do bite my thumb, sir. Do you bite your thumb at us? Sir. Is the law of our side if I say I? No! No, sir, I do not bite my thumb at you, sir, but I bite my thumb, sir! Do you?
Well, okay. Terrible idea.
We don't have to spend all day on Romeo and Juliet.
I'll
but
spend
96,
all day. I can't. 1996, 22-year-old Leo. I hate this movie. I'm sorry for anyone that likes it. It's terrible. Also,
you are Fortune's fool, my friend.
I do like Jamie Kennedy in that movie at the gas station, though. That's a great
It's
scene.
a rare Jamie Kennedy sighting in a movie that's not
Scream.
What's the one where he's the white rapper?
So I was going to say he's great in Scream, too. But, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, this is not his Hall of Fame induction. That's coming in the year 2058. Let's move on. He was in
Malibu's Most Wanted. That's what I was
There you go.
Anyway.
So, 96, he's also in Marvin's Room with Meryl Streep. So, again, he loves Meryl Streep. He loves De Niro. So, I think he was very fortunate early on to star with some of these huge actors who, Meryl Streep is the queen, right? She's got 15 Oscar noms. So, I definitely think it helps. He's only 22 years old at this point. It helps shape him for what's about to come. And what's about to come is the movie Boogie Nights, where he plays Dirk Diggler. Oh, wait, that's not right. No, because he actually did get offered that role, but he turned it down at the last minute to star in Titanic, directed by James Cameron. 11 Oscar wins for Best Picture. He did not get an Oscar nom for this movie. He got a Golden Globe nomination. But, Wolf, let's take a minute to focus on our first of his top 10 performances, Titanic.
Sure. It's a movie that happened, and it made a lot of money. I couldn't believe hearing people say they've gone to the movie theater 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. It's really the first time I ever heard that. And most of it was female driven because of the love for Leo. I guarantee it. And obviously, pretty good song, crazy story.
My grandma saw this movie 6 times in theaters.
That's bananas. And normally anything with Billy Zane, I could just say it right there. Cut it out. Just done. But pretty interesting movie. Obviously James Cameron, pretty good director. Coming off of, was his movie before that literally Terminator 2 Judgment Day, possibly?
I believe so. Might have been The Abyss or True Lies in between here. True Lies
was 94. Yeah, so that True Lies is a hilarious movie. Speaking of things that are unintentional comedies, that's the number one unintentional comedy of all time. But Titanic, it is a movie. I don't have too many thoughts about it, bad or good. It's way too long for me.
Well, let's focus
I understand
on
what happened, but Leo's performance is exceptional. And this is one of his first really knocked it out of the park type of performances. Because of that intensity, I think he starts to really bring that to the forefront of his acting. But how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so I just rewatched this movie. I really like it. It's a great movie in the sense, yes, do I think it's like a 10 out of 10? No, it's like a 7, 8 out of 10. But very, very watchable. He does a very good job of tying in this great love story with real events. I really appreciate Leo's performance is definitely the most captivating in the movie. Every scene he's in, he just has this energy around him that you're just like, what you want to watch him when he's not on the screen. The movie definitely hurts. Standout scene for me in the movie is going to be the dinner scene where he's invited to dinner. It's the famous, Billy Zane, a real man makes his own luck line.
Here I am on the grandest ship in the world having champagne with you fine people. I'll take some of that. I figure life's a gift and I don't intend on wasting it. You never know what hand you're going to get dealt next. You learn to take life as it comes at you. Oh, here you go, Cal. To make each day count.
Well said, Jack.
Yeah.
But he just carries himself with this swagger that we really hadn't seen in the movie till that point. And, he's probably, I'm imagining like he's scared shitless around all these rich people, doesn't know how to act, but he really, really pulls it off. It leads into, pretty much the end of the movie as far as like them running away from the James Bond villain looking guy. I forget his name. But he's great in it. I think the biggest flaws with his performance in this, because he is kind of new, is just the screenplay is not the best. Like they say each other's names like 12,000 times. Jack Rose, like every freaking 3 seconds. I just can't imagine having like a conversation with someone like Eric.
No, it's like an old sales trick. Like you say someone's name over and over again, they start to like you more, or whatever BS that is. But yeah, no, I agree with you. The dialogue, it could have been a little bit better, but the movie is for what it is, and he's still got a good performance. I agree 100% there.
And one last thing on this movie, Christian Bale. Christian Bale was originally cast in the role of Leo, but James Cameron decided that he did not want 2 Brits in the movie playing 2 Americans.
You never give it to an ordinary citizen.
So the role went to Leo instead, and to me, this is the ultimate. He will cross paths with Leo one more time very shortly, but man, can you imagine if Christian Bale was in this movie and Leo was not? That's weird.
I can't picture it for 100% of my brain trying to. I couldn't see it other than like, Rose, grab the oar and float away on the door. And
because as everyone knows, Christian Bale has never played a role without doing the Batman voice, apparently. Come on.
Of course not. No, Dick Cheney. He was also saying, "Swear to me, Afghanistan." But I can't picture it. I just can't get over it. I can't believe that actually was offered to him.
Yeah. I also just like Christian Bale in relationships in movies is just funny. I just can't, like, that's the one thing I never buy him. Like, he just seems so dead inside. Like, I just can't. Nothing. I love Christian Bale, I do, but it's just funny. I think it worked out for the best. From there, he used his star power from this movie to start to grab some actual big money roles. He did that Man in the Iron Mask movie in 1998. I know some people he plays like twin brothers in this. So it's like, I remember I saw it when I was 8 years old and I was like, what the hell am I watching? There's 2 of this guy. I didn't even know. He's got a brother.
The cast in Man in the Iron Mask is incredible. With Jeremy Irons, Leo, John Malkovich, Peter Sarsgaard, Hugh Laurie, like all these guys went on to do some crazy things. But yeah, like the biggest thing I could say about Man in the Iron Mask is that it's a corny movie. It's super corny and just all about trying to grab cash and do Three Musketeers all over again. It's like the worst candy bar of all time. So
yeah, he took a big paycheck to do this.
Yeah.
I think I want to say $20 million. He got paid for this. Like, good for him.
Ride that Titanic wave, baby, all day long.
Which is funny because he was very against. We were talking about how all the girls loved him. He wanted so fast to get away from that, teen heartthrob sensation, even though he's 25 looking 15 in Titanic. But from here we move into another cross with Christian Bale. He signs on to, so this is a pretty crazy story. So the director of American Psycho, man, her name is slipping me right now. I want to say it's Mary something. We'll pull that up for you. But she was so adamant that she wanted to cast Christian Bale in American Psycho. And the studio just felt, at this time, Christian Bale had done literally nothing. He did a couple movies as a kid, Empire of the Sun, but nothing like where he was a recognizable role. And they wanted to get some star power. So they put an offer out to Leo for $20 million. So they fire her off the movie. They hire Oliver Stone to come and direct the movie. They hire Leo. And then Leo and Oliver Stone just have a huge difference in opinion on how this movie should go. So Leo walks to go do his next movie, The Beach. They end up hiring her back, hiring Christian Bale back. And as everyone knows, Christian Bale was fantastic in this movie. But do you think Leo could have pulled off American Psycho at this time?
I think you need to your point earlier, someone more dead inside to play the role of Patrick Bateman like that. Like it's a pretty crazy thing. And we've seen Leo do some nuts stuff, and I'm not saying he couldn't have done it. And I'm telling you right now, I would watch that movie 100 out of 100 times. But I think Bale was the spot on for that one. But it still would have been interesting. And then we get the beach out of it, which is an interesting movie, to say the least, from Leo.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd be more interested in watching Leo play American Psycho now than I was then. And also, Bale is just so perfect in that movie. I don't think he could have done a better job at that time anyway.
Right.
But yeah, so we move on to The Beach. We both just rewatched this movie, directed by Danny Boyle, who did Trainspotting. Fantastic director. This movie was obliterated. This is Leo's worst reviewed movie.
Man.
Only like 20% of critics gave this a positive review.
Wow.
Which, rewatching it, it's not that bad. It's not good by any means, but it's a very watchable movie that had this come out in 2015, the same movie released in 2015, because of how much more respected Leo is now, it gets good reviews every single time. No question.
Sure. No, I think The Beach is best summarized by, like, if you let a 10-year-old who's really good at computers edit your movie, that's what The Beach ends up being. Like, kind of a weirdo, trippy type of thing. But, yeah, it's definitely not great, but it's not the worst movie of all time. And Leo is good in it. And I like having the Sorceress Supreme from Doctor Strange like be one of the other main characters. I thought was really funny. I'm forgetting her name for the time being, but let me just look that up real quick.
Yeah, it's pretty funny too. I think his performance is very good in it. This is like the first really weird out there performance he gives. If you guys have not seen The Beach, it's worth it just for I won't get into spoilers, but you know when he's up in the woods alone, and it's like he's imagining he's like in a video game, and the artistically it switches to make it look like he's in a video game, which is pretty funny. So
yeah,
he gets pretty crazy in this movie towards the end. So it's probably not too far off what he would have done as American Psycho, which again is why I don't think he was quite ready for that role. But from here we move into I would say this is where his career takes off, and I think it takes off specifically because he auditions for the role of Peter Parker in Spider-Man, turns that down. Then he auditions for the role of Anakin Skywalker, gets offered that, and turns that down.
He got offers on all of these movies, which is the craziest part. It's not just like they were thinking about him, is that they said, yes, we want you, and we'll give you whatever money you want. That's nuts to me.
So I think Anakin is the closest of these that he actually came to doing, just because, you know, it came down to he still didn't feel ready. Not that he would never do it. He just didn't feel ready to be part of like a franchise. He didn't want to deal with the pressure that would come with something like that. Of all the roles, I would have enjoyed seeing him as Anakin Skywalker.
Leonardo DiCaprio is Darth Vader. There you have it, folks. That's all that's all I would need to hear. And it doesn't matter what Star Wars dreck they just shovel down our throats for the next 50 years. We could always still come back and say, Leo was a pretty good Darth Vader. Like, that would be a dream. I just can't describe it any other way.
Yeah. Again, I'm really happy that he did not get the role at the end because, one, I actually don't mind Hayden Christensen in the third movie as Anakin Skywalker. I think he's good. You know, the first, second one is really bad, but the movie itself is also really bad. But
Hayden Christensen also can be viewed in the movie Jumper, so not to be confused with Looper. I finally figured those out. Fun fact for everybody.
Congratulations. But just, I mean, look at the movies that just in 2002 alone, we got Gangs of New York and Catch Me If You Can, which we'll jump into in a second. For Revenge of the Sith, he would have been in that. We probably would have missed out on him doing The Departed and Blood Diamond. So to me, there's just no world where I would trade, you know, those roles for him being Anakin Skywalker, because as much as fun as it would have been to see him read those robotic lines to Padme, I think I'm good. I think I can just keep those memories in my head. But let's jump into the juice of his career. 2002, 28-year-old Leonardo DiCaprio, first role with Martin Scorsese. Still not one of our next top 10s, but Gangs of New York. How do you feel about this one?
I like Gangs of New York very much. I'm a big, again, fan of movies that are based on real history, and it's a very little known taught part of history how really shitty New York City was in the late 1800s. So it's an overall good movie, and I think Daniel Day-Lewis really is the star, not necessarily Leo. But yeah, what do you think about Gangs of New York and Leo?
Yeah, I agree. I think this movie is more important to his career than his performance in it. Basically, what I mean by that is he gets to work with Scorsese for the first time, which would end up being, what he's known for most as far as directors that he's worked with. He gets to work with Daniel Day-Lewis for the first time and last time, and I think that there's no question Daniel Day-Lewis is like a method actor, one of, if not the most, respected actors ever. Mm-hmm. So whatever happened, during the filming of this movie clearly changed Leo, because from this point on, we've said we were going to do his top 10 performances. We've only gone over one, so there's 9 more to come, so it's like pre-Gangs of New York, you have Titanic. Post-Gangs of New York, you have 9 more movies that we're going to highlight, but it's not one of my top 10 performances for Leo just because of he's basically a passenger to Daniel Day-Lewis's riveting performance that he somehow did not win Best Actor for, by the way.
Incredible.
But it leads us to Catch Me If You Can. So Catch Me If You Can, 2002, maybe one of my favorite movies that Leo is in, but it is going to be our next one on our top 10 performances. So this is the second role we're going to highlight. But how do you feel about him in this movie specifically?
It's really hard for me to pick from the list of the main movies that he's been in and have been loved by all. But Catch Me If You Can is one of my favorite movies in general. Frank Abagnale Jr. Like there's too many things to talk about within the movie itself. Leo's again playing a 15-year-old. At this point, he's what, 29?
28, yeah.
He still is able to do it, and by the end of that movie, it's really funny. He's like 19. Like that's the span of 4 years, everything he goes through, and I think he plays it perfect. Like it's hard to pick a favorite scene, but when he scams the who's actually Jennifer Garner playing the literal prostitute down the hall, and when he's able to scam her out of $400, I think that's like the best. That it kind of encapsulates the whole theme of the movie, like how smooth this guy was and how he was able to get away with so much. I don't see anyone else playing that role as well as Leo did, and I just really love this movie. So I hope to get this inducted into our Made for Movies Hall of Fame at one point as well as a movie. So look forward to that.
Yeah, it's a great movie. This is now his 3rd Golden Globe nomination he gets for this. He does not get an Oscar nom for it. I'd have to see the list, but it seems deserving of a nomination for this. Him and Tom Hanks are fantastic in this movie.
Kyle Hanratty. This is a perfect voice. He's great in it too.
Yeah, Leo does a great job not saying much to this movie. He a lot of this is you just can feel what he's feeling, just based off a look in this movie. It's the first time that I really felt he's starting to figure it out, on screen for the first time. My favorite scene in the movie is going to be when Tom Hanks tells him that his dad is dead, and they're on the plane flying, and just his whole reaction to him, and he freaks out and he goes to the bathroom and he has like the nervous breakdown. It's so good. If you haven't seen that scene, watch this movie if you haven't seen it.
You said I could talk to him. Carl, who are you to say something like that, huh? Who are you to say something like that? You said I could talk to him.
And he broke his neck. I'm sorry.
It's a fantastic movie, but yeah, he is. From this point on, we're almost in the point where he does not miss a role.
Yeah.
But yeah, we move into 2004, which might be, we'll see at the end here, might be my favorite role of his performance-wise. So Aviator, 2004, nominated. This is his second collaboration with Martin Scorsese. He gets nominated for Best Actor. It's his first leading actor nom from the Oscars, so a very big deal. And he also gets his first Golden Globe win for this movie. playing, by the way, Catch Me If You Can, he's playing a real person. This movie, he's also playing a real person as well, Howard Hughes. Are you a fan of this one?
I like The Aviator. I didn't know until I watched it how crazy Howard Hughes was, because you hear like that name and you hear some of the startings of major aviation in the world. But to see the performance that he puts on of a literal crazy man is pretty crazy itself. And it's one of the best performances of Leo's career, without question.
Yeah, he got robbed. Ray Charles, Jamie Foxx won for Ray Charles. Watching that movie now, I was a big fan of it then. There's no question to me that Leo gives the better and just overall better performance for Aviator. My favorite scene by far is "Show Me the Blueprints," when he just keeps repeating "Show me the blueprints" to his employee. Like, he literally can't stop. He like covers his mouth and he's still saying, and he's like running to the bathroom to wash his hands.
Serious now. Show me all the blueprints. 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 Show me all the blueprints.
Fantastic. I also love when he spells quarantine throughout the movie. He's so good. But yeah, to me, is this his best movie? No.
Right.
It's not his best movie, but as far as performances go, I feel like this is almost a 3-hour movie, and almost every single scene in this movie is on him specifically. So I think that he just carries the entire thing. He takes like a decent movie to a great movie just based off his performance. So
yeah,
yep. This is the first of his Oscar snubs, in my opinion, but we'll move into the next Oscar snub, and one of our favorite movies of all time, The Departed, 2006, Best Picture winner, The Departed. So, by the way, Leo has been starred in 9 movies that have been nominated for Best Picture. This is the second one that has won, behind Titanic, and he gets a Golden Globe nom, but does not get an Oscar nom. Pretty crazy.
It is crazy, and I want to say there's probably some reason why. Like, The Departed has some distinct storylines. Like, Leo is clearly one of the main characters, but you could give it that argument that Matt Damon is also one of the main characters, and possibly Jack Nicholson as well. But I mean, I don't think I've ever met a person who doesn't like this movie. One, again, Boston accents are just hilarious, and you just want to listen to as many as possible, especially cops. The story and how Scorsese tells the story of the movie is great, but Leo himself just playing a literal snitch in one of the most violent gangs in all of Boston at the time, like, his emotions go up and down like crazy. And this is also up there as far as his top performances, and I couldn't believe he didn't even get nominated as a supporting actor for it.
Yeah, I agree. I personally felt that he's the lead actor in this movie. You could make the case, I agree, for Matt Damon. They're both pretty neck and neck. I believe Jack Nicholson was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this. But considering, to me, this might be his best performance. Aviator might be my favorite. Departed might be his best.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a subtle role. This is one of those things, like, where people say, like, Daniel Day-Lewis, is the best actor ever. I'm like, okay, he has only done, so many movies. He picks his roles. Could he have played the cop in Departed as well as Leo? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think a lot of people could have played, and it's not like a complex role, which is like a lot of people could have been cast in this. Not a lot of people could have pulled it off the way he did. His scene in the therapy sessions are freaking insane.
I'm having panic attacks, all right? The other night I thought I was having a fucking heart attack. I puked in a trash barrel on the way over here. I haven't slept for fucking weeks.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true, all right? I said something fucking true. I want some fucking pills, and you're gonna what? You're gonna close my file?
I didn't
Is that what you're gonna
your
do?
File. I know. I
thought I was supposed to tell the truth here.
You
if
are.
only fucking
You
here.
are,
Christ,
yes,
when a guy
okay.
comes in here against every instinct of privacy, of self-reliance that he has, and what do? What do you do, huh? You send him off on the street to score smack? Is that what you do? You're fucking ridiculous.
Probably my favorite scenes in the movie, along with the ending on the rooftop, really stands out with Matt Damon. Man, this movie is perfect. It's literally a perfect movie.
Yes.
This same year, so Blood Diamond did come out, so he did get a nom from the Oscars for Blood Diamond, which is a joke that he got. He's so much better in this than Blood Diamond, and no disrespect to Blood Diamond, he's great. He's got that awesome accent in that movie as well.
I'm from Rhodesia, bruh.
But yeah, man, I can't get over, Golden Globes give him 2 noms in the same category that year, so I hate the Golden Globes, but respect to them for doing that. But yeah, this is so far we've got Titanic, Catch Me If You Can, Aviator, and Departed are 4 of his top 10. We got 6 to go. Before we get there, I would say we hit a little bit of a lull, you could say, with Body of Lies and Revolutionary Road, which he is great in Revolutionary Road, I will say that, but the movies are not my favorite.
Sure.
Is that fair to say for you, too?
Yep, both garbage movies, in my opinion, both of them.
Okay.
Unwatchable, not rewatchable, and I will never put them on again. But
Body of Lies is very boring. But in 2008, he also was almost cast as Colonel Hans Landa in Inglourious Bastards, Quentin Tarantino. And this is not a role he turned down, by the way. Tarantino just decided to go with someone that was actually German. I think Leo would have murdered this role, but at the same time, Christoph Waltz he wouldn't have been better than Christoph Waltz, which we can rarely say about Leo.
Christoph Waltz is irreplaceable as Hans Landa, without question. But would it be great to see Leo play that? It would be amazing. Like, there's no doubt about it.
So we move from there into what I think is his most commercially appealing year, is 2010. You have 2 roles that we're going to highlight. The first being Shutter Island, another collaboration with Martin Scorsese. This, again, I feel like I'm Aaron Wolf on the podcast saying this is one of my favorite roles, but yeah, it really is. I don't want to choose which is my favorite. It's going to be really tough at the end. Shutter Island, to me, I know you don't like horror movies. I love this movie. I think it's fantastic. He's amazing in it. Are you a fan?
I am not the biggest Shutter Island fan, I have to admit, but I have watched it. It's not like I'm coming from nowhere like I am with Jurassic World 9, but it's... Once I know what the movie's about, I don't need to see it again in this type of genre. But yeah, like, it's unbelievably trippy and scary, and you really wonder what's going to happen. And Leo's emotional, ups and downs in this movie are a performance for the ages as well. So nothing against his performance. It's like you said before on some of the movies, like, his performance is outstanding, but the movie sucks. So it's kind of not that for me with Shutter Island. I'm not saying it sucks, but it's not something I will rewatch, but it's definitely a movie people should watch.
I'll probably watch it tonight.
Yeah.
But there's 2 specific things in this movie that stand out to me. I think he could have been nominated for this a little bit before its time as far as these types of movies getting some love from the Oscars. But the scene, I don't want to spoil it too much. Hopefully, if you haven't seen it, earmuffs. But just when his kids die and he's finding out that his wife killed his kids. Very, very hard scene to watch, I would say. And also,
intense. The
best scene by far is when he's imagining his wife, he's running away, and she's like, "Come back, Teddy," and he like looks at her. I don't remember the exact line, but he just tells her how ugly his tie is.
I'm sorry, honey. I love this thing because you gave it to me. The truth is, there's one fucking ugly tie.
It's so good. He's so freaking crazy in it. It's perfect. But we will move into a role that we agree on is one of his best and one of the best movies that he's in, Inception. Woo! Inception is not...
I'm a big fan of original ideas, and Inception being a more original movie, obviously coming from Christopher Nolan, is... not necessarily Leo like going so far out of what he's normally doing. Like, he kind of plays like a more normal guy, but he just happens to be hyper skilled at what he does, which is infiltrate dreams, which talk about a cool concept in itself. Like, we're always striving to know more about dreams, and just having a movie kind of diving deeper into that, I thought was really cool, especially with the special effects being almost second to none at the time for some of the stuff that happens in it is like really cool looking and visually appealing, and Leo's great. I mean, he's the leader of that troupe, and going back and forth between him and Maul, the villain of that movie, is really crazy. I love Inception.
It's fantastic. One of my favorite movies that he's in. One of the 10, believe it or not. No, it is.
Heyo.
But specific things that stick out to me in this movie is not good without Leo in the lead role. He makes you care about everything that's happening. He elevates, what's her name? Marion Cotillard.
Yep.
He elevates her so much in this movie to make her villainous role even work better, that I thought she would be better in Dark Knight Rises because of how good she was in this, which I'm pretty sure Christopher Nolan got bamboozled because of that as well. So funny enough, from here, Inception, my favorite scene before we move on, just the scene where he's talking to his wife at the end of the movie, where he's basically telling her she's a shade.
I wish more than anything, but I can't imagine you with all your complexity, all your perfection, all your imperfection. Look at you. You're just a shade. You're just a shade of my real life. And you're the best that I can do, but I'm sorry, you're just not good enough.
It's freaking perfect.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
and so much is happening at that same time with the dreams collapsing.
Yeah.
Like outside is a big storm and people are falling and blowing up, and it just what a way to like tie everything together as the absolute climax of that movie is that scene.
But it's so funny. You're right. There is so much else happening, but all I care about is this guy finally telling his imaginary wife to screw off, basically. But it's so good. But yeah, from there we move. He did J. Edgar in 2011, which, funny enough, he doesn't get a nom for Shutter Island or Inception, but J. Edgar gets him the nom, which it's good. His role's good. I'm not a big fan of the movie itself. He definitely brought a lot to the role, though, for sure.
Yeah, no, in talking about one of the most, for lack of a better word, fascinating people in history, J. Edgar is like, not that he's good, not that he's bad, he was pretty bad, but like so many layers of a person and like what he did in the country and like was in charge of in the like there's too much there to make this like an easy movie to watch, but Leo certainly has a good performance in it. It's not something I rewatch, but it's definitely a good performance.
So from there we move into 2012 to highlight our next role in his top 10 performances, Django Unchained. He does get a nomination from the Golden Globes for this. I know that you're not a fan of the movie. Is that correct?
It's not that I'm not a fan. I think that I saw it a couple times first when it came out, and that did it for me. Like, but it's undeniable that Leo playing a extremely racist plantation owner and like the way he's treating these people and just his thoughts on life as a character in this is definitely up there. And like you can't go one day without seeing a meme of Leo with that laughing face, like like it's the meme of 2020 for sure, and it's still coming out today. So like those types of lasting things, even though it's kind of stupid that it's a meme, it's like that's what he was trying to say. It's like, guess what I got over here? Like that type of thing was an exceptional performance for this.
I agree. I think this is one of his best roles. One of his best scenes is in this movie for sure. The dinner scene where he actually smashes the glass with his hand.
Hey! Now lay your palms flat on that tabletop. If you lift those palms off that turtle shell tabletop, Mr. Pooch is gonna let loose with both barrels of that sawed off. There have been a lot of lies said around this dinner table here tonight, but that you can't believe.
Really cuts his hand in real life. They continue filming. I could just picture Quentin Tarantino watching that and just like literally full chub, 6 to midnight. Like that was probably one of the best moments of his life, and I would give anything to be there on set to watch it. But fantastic, very short role too, by the way. He's not in this movie very long, but he makes a huge impact on it and is the best part of it. 2013 brings us The Great Gatsby. Another pretty good role from him. Doesn't get any noms for this. I don't like the movie whatsoever. Tobey Maguire skeeves me out.
They're like best friends too. I think that's
Yeah.
hilarious that Toby
Yeah,
got
they are.
Spider-Man after he turned it down. Like, I wonder
why
if there's
they're
any
best friends.
nepotism there. Yeah, like, but yeah, Great Gatsby is not worth a watch. Just read the book instead. The book is far better, and then we can go on to a much better movie in 2013 that came out. My
Yes.
Namesake.
Wolf of Wall Street. So this is another one of his top 10 performances. And from this point on, Leo starts to take some breaks in between roles, and he does not miss again. So from here on out, he gets nominated or wins every single award he plays from the Golden Globes or the Oscars. So he is now in his official Daniel Day-Lewis mode here, where every role he does from now on is probably going to get a nomination for him. But Wolf of Wall Street, tell me about this one.
Incredible movie, another Scorsese collab. Jordan Belfort is another fascinating human being for what all he did, and this is another thing that's like not necessarily was known by everybody, like that there were firms out there that were doing shady stuff like this, and bringing it to light. Like, as Jordan Belfort, I don't think there's this might be my favorite Leo performance of all the performances, because it's just like he's a drug-fueled douche, and you still like him. Like, who else but Leo could do that in any movie? That's kind of... There's not a favorite scene either, because the whole movie's funny, and there's plenty of banter with Jonah Hill. But like, when they smoke crack together, I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen on screen in my life, besides Dumb and Dumber. So
I agree with you in the sense that this is the performance of all the movies that, had I seen the movie and I like who plays this role, I just can't imagine him ever playing a role like this that's like full-fledged comedy, drug addict. Like he's never really done like comedy before, and he's very funny in this movie. He's hilarious. His comedic timing is amazing. I agree. It's one of his best performances. That's why we're highlighting it. But there is some standout moments to me. The movie itself is also just very good, so he does benefit from an incredible story. But the scene where Donnie is choking and he's on top of Jonah Hill and he's trying to get it out, and he's watching Popeye on TV, and he does the drugs and he's like banging on his chest. It's so good. Just the whole scene. He like can't talk on the phone. He's all messed up. It's amazing. If you have not seen this movie, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it is fantastic. One of the most quotable movies he does. I mean, I'm not effing leaving. I'm not effing leaving. And also
another meme, brought from this. Like, anytime they're on an airplane in that movie is also hilarious. So like, they go to Vegas for his bachelor party, then they go to Switzerland to deposit a bunch of money. Both of the times he's just a lunatic, and it is hilarious. It shows he really does have the comedic timing to pull off a full-blown comedy, if that's what he wanted to do.
From there, we move into two of the last roles to discuss today, and the one that he finally got the W for. So he got 2 nominations for Wolf of Wall Street from the Golden Globes and Oscars. The Revenant. The Revenant gets him his first ever Oscar win. You don't like this movie very much, is that correct?
I don't. I thought it was way too long, as with a theme with a lot of movies these days. They just seem to pack in too much stuff. However, both Tom Hardy and his performance in this are legendary for what they're worth. Like, it's obviously tough to see anybody, fake or not, get mauled by a bear. Yeah. And obviously it's like a lot of loud screaming and just as it should be. But the fact that, Leo, obviously not to spoil anything, but he comes back from that and like just has an overall really, really good performance. But it's not a movie I will ever watch again, I imagine. Like, even if it's on TNT one day, I just wouldn't pop it on.
I would watch it again just because I really do enjoy the roles. He's fantastic in it. It's a slower burn for sure, but it's not my favorite movie in the world, but like you said, both performances of 2 of my favorite actors, Tom Hardy as well, you just can't deny. I literally watched that bear scene right before we got on this, just because I figured get hyped up, man.
Get hyped up,
take down the bear. No.
And not to say anything bad about the movie, really, other than like the length. It's shot incredibly well. I feel like the director is just like with the actors, giving their point of view the whole time, and that when like the Native Americans are like running at them from like the woods. You're like, whoa, what was that? Like it's kind of like scary and cool, but yeah, like I it's just not something I would ever watch.
Yeah, I agree to some extent, but I probably will watch it this weekend, to be honest. But no, so it's funny. So he wins the Oscar for this, and I just remember leading up, before I even saw the movie, everyone was talking about how he basically was tortured on set by this director, like eating, like, I don't even remember. It's eating like certain
bugs.
types. Yeah, eating like stuff out in the wild, like a survivor man. Sleeping in like real horse carcasses, like stuff where I'm just like, why did they have to do that? Like I'm glad that he won for this. He did deserve to win, but there are better roles of his. This is one of his 10 best, but it's not the best in my opinion. I think most people would agree. So let's move into the final role. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, his second collaboration with Quentin Tarantino, Oscar nomination, Golden Globe nomination. Well, tell me about it.
I like Leo's character in this movie. Not necessarily the best parts of the movie. I would say Brad Pitt probably takes a little bit more of the shine on this one because Brad Pitt's role in general is funnier and he gets to beat up Bruce Lee in it. But like Leo playing that role, which first of all, his name, Rick Dalton, is going to be my fake name in bars for the rest of my life. Like when I have to do the sign in for COVID, like I'm going to write Rick Dalton. He plays an actor who's kind of getting washed up. It's almost like close to not emulating his real life, but it could be one day, you know, being super uber famous. And then as the roles start to kind of like slow up as you get older, like what do I end up doing? He goes to Italy and does the same thing he did when he was younger. I think that's really funny and charming, that actors really have done this in the past, and it's kind of a cool story. I like how Tarantino does mess with history a little bit, and instead of them killing the girl next door, meaning the Charles Manson disciples, sorry, I'm spoiling the entire movie for everybody, but
I'll put a spoiler.
Right. But it's an interesting movie overall, and definitely rewatchable. It is still a little long, but him as Rick Dalton is hilarious to me, and he uses a flamethrower, so who doesn't like that?
This is not a movie that was meant to be seen in a movie theater. It's too long. I didn't really enjoy it that much in the movie theater, but there's so much greatness in the movie that it's a must watch. And now that it's on home video, you can split it into parts, or it's just easier to watch from your couch. I was getting pretty restless in my seat, but I think his performance is better than Brad Pitt's in this movie, and I agree with you that Brad Pitt is the standout, and he's like meant to be like the cooler role, and he's given some meatier scenes, but I don't think Brad Pitt could have played Leo's part in this as well. There's just so many little subtle things he does with his character. He's always constantly clearing his throat, like he's got mucus in his throat, like it's just so good. It's like it's definitely one of those roles. I'm not comparing it to Heath Ledger as the Joker, but the little subtle things that he's doing, everything is intentional. The movie is a love letter to filmmaking, Hollywood. I think that Tarantino has worked with so many actors that have been that guy who was like a big TV star that couldn't break into movies. So I think that this movie means a lot to a lot of people, and for that, I think that he's responsible for giving such a tremendous performance that's both subtle and incredible. It's our last entrant into the top 10 Leo performances, so I will recap for everybody. We started in 1997 with Titanic, 2002's Catch Me If You Can, 2004's Aviator, 2006 Departed. We had Shutter Island, Inception, Django Unchained, Wolf of Wall Street, The Revenant, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are the top 10 movies. So now, Wolf, I'm going to put you on the spot. Wrapping this thing up, I want your number one favorite performance by him and why, and also your least favorite performance by him.
Ooh, out of those 10 movies only, right?
For least favorite, yeah, let's keep it inside the 10, make it interesting.
I would say my least favorite, we can start with that one, would be The Revenant, and that's just because the other movies I'd probably like more than that, but because of his performance, it is hard to say that his only Oscar win is his worst performance, but I think it might be, just because it's not as entertaining to me overall. The number one, I'm probably going to have to go with Catch Me If You Can. I think because it's a close tie with Wolf of Wall Street as Jordan Belfort, and it seems to be him playing real people are really the top notch. And because Aviator's probably third. So Catch Me If You Can, simply because, again, he's 29 years old playing a teenager, and he's so smart and witty, and he's able to pull off all of those things in that movie. I just think it's great.
Good choices. I like it. I'm going to give his worst performance of R10 to Catch Me If You Can. Not that it's bad. It's still incredible, and it's very close to the rest. Just Catch Me If You Can. He really hasn't tapped quite into the actor that he is today, and the movie is fantastic with him, but not because of him. So for that reason, it might be one of the best movies he's in, but his worst personal performance, I'm going to give his best performance. It's very close between Departed and Aviator. I'm going to give it to Aviator. I just think that that movie is nothing without him, whereas Departed would still be at least a good movie. But yeah, this was really fun. But shout out to Leo, man. 38 total nominations, 6 Oscar noms, 4 BAFTAs, 11 Golden Globes, 9 SAGs, 1 Emmy, and most importantly, the Made for Movies Hall of Fame induction.
Oh, yeah. You are welcome, Leo. We hope you loved us recapping your entire career, because we've sure enjoyed watching you. So congratulations to Leo.
And what's to come? He is coming out with 2 movies this year, or he's making 2 movies. He has a movie coming out from Adam McKay, Don't Look Up, going to be streaming on Netflix, hopefully in June, I believe. He also has his 7th collaboration with Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, where he is going to be co-starring with Jesse Plemons. Guaranteed Oscar nomination for that one. Looking forward to both. But yeah, that pretty much wraps things up for us. Got any final comments, questions, concerns?
All good here. We really appreciate you guys listening, and we hope you message us your nominations for the Made for Movies Hall of Fame. Again, it's movies, it's actors, and it's directors. So anybody you want us to talk about, send them in, and we'll talk about it.
That's a good point. So directors are coming up next for the month of May. So yeah, please send us in your directors. Also, let us know your favorite Leo roles. What did we get right? What did we get wrong?
Absolutely, guys. Check us out on our socials, Made for Movies Podcast, our website, madeformovies.com. Always feel free to pick up one of the few remaining shirts we have. Again, some of the proceeds go to charity on that one. We've already raised a good chunk of money, so we do appreciate the support. madeformovies.com/merch. And until next time, good talking to you, bud.
Bye.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving!